us it doesn't matter. We've had our thick and thin, enough to know that I would rather not go through life without you. And in the end, I'm just glad we're friends. And in the end, I'm just glad we're friends.
Hey everybody, Chico and Poppy here with Poppy in Poppy's Kitchen. Getting ready to make something nice. I'm gonna make today some Spanish rice. Something very, very simple. What happened is when I was out shopping, I found a little bit of pork that was marked down. It was only like $2 or $1.50 or something like that. Got an awful lot here. I cut it all up, like diced it, cubed it kind of. And that's where all our flavor is going to come from, and we can make some Spanish rice. I have that. I have a large onion. I have a large pepper. I'm going to get a box of like a minute instant rice, and I'm going to cook all of that off, have it off to the side, and then we're going to be adding it later. I have a can here of tomato puree. This is 29 ounces. What I've done is I put this onto a little pot cooking, and I added the same amount of water to it, just about the same amount, because I don't want it to be all tomato flavor. And what we're going to do is we're going to cook these off. We're going to add them to the sauce, and then I want to slow cook this meat in that sauce for at least an hour. I'd like to go about 2 hours, and this meat will get tender. And then later on, when we add the rice to it, it'll be nice and tender. You gotta slow cook these things to get that nice and tender. And of course, 100% olive oil. We can't go without that, right? Okay, so I got a pan getting warm here. What are we gonna do first? I'd say we cook the peppers and onions first. That'll give the pan some flavor, and then that pepper and onion flavor will get onto our meat. Okay, so we just start with a little bit of olive oil. Well, let's all right, we're going to start with a little bit of olive oil, and let's cook off these peppers first, all right? These peppers are done. We can get this off the heat. Alright, let's add some more olive oil. Add our onions. Let's not cook these to death, okay? I don't want these to completely disappear into our rice. Okay, these onions are just about done. We can add a little bit of garlic. You can add a little garlic to the peppers that I did, right when they're just about ready to come off the heat. Add a little bit to the onions like this, right before they're ready to come off the heat. Give it a little more flavor. Okay, this is ready. Get this off the heat. Alright, let's add a little bit of olive oil here. Go ahead and add our meat. We want to get a nice little sear on our meat. Now, I got a lot of meat here. I'm going to try to use it all because it was so cheap. But it is more than enough for what I'm going to be doing here. Just add a little bit of salt and pepper to help the cooking process here. Okay, this pork is done. I don't want to cook the pork to death either, because when the pork cooks down, a lot of the juices from the pork is what gives your rice a lot of flavor. Same way it does in when you're making spaghetti sauce and you use the pork in your meatballs. It gives a lot of flavor. Alright, let's bring over our sauce here. You can see this is tomato sauce with equal part, ooh, let me turn this down, equal part of water. You see, so it's not going to kill you with solid tomato. Alright, let's go ahead and add our meat. We can add our onions and peppers. Stir this sucker up. See how nice that looks? Now what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to put this on a low, and we're going to go low and slow, okay? Going to just let this be on like a low simmer. Going to put the cover on it. A little bit of an air pocket like that. And we're going to let this cook for, I'd like to do it about 2 hours so that our pork gets nice and tender, okay? And in a couple hours, we'll come back. Okay, everybody, we are back. I had the tomato sauce with the pork, the peppers, and the onions slow cooking, low and slow for a couple hours so that meat will get tender. I have cooked off some minute rice, which didn't really take a minute. It took about 5 minutes, so it should be called 5-minute rice. And what I'm going to do now is combine them all. But I don't know if the two mixtures are going to be the right amount proportionally. So what I'm going to do is put all of the liquid in here, and then we are going to start adding rice to it. Okay? So I have all this great tomato sauce here with the meat that's been slow cooking. This is a lot we have here. Lots and lots and lots. I wonder if I should do the rice, put the rice in, and then put this in. Would that be the better way to do it? This is an awful lot. Let's see how much rice we have, okay? I always do it this way, even when I make soups. I never add the pasta to the liquid of the soup, because I always found in the restaurants that all of a sudden I wouldn't have enough, or I'd have too much, and then your soup would be thick, and it would be ruined. It'd be like a stew. So I always would keep everything separate. I still do it for the family too when we make pasta meals. I keep the sauce separate, and everybody can fix their plate so that we don't make something either too thick or not thick enough. So let's do this. I'm going to start adding this to the rice. I think this portion is going to be just fine, but I just don't want to add it all right off the bat. So let's do this. See if we can't start stirring this up. This is going to be so good. I haven't made this in a while. This is Grandma Jen's recipe, of course. And she used to make this. Our family used to go over for lunch at my Grandma Jen's and my grandfather's house every Saturday. And Grandma Jen always made lunch, and she always had 6, 7 different things. She'd have a frittata, she'd have Spanish rice, some type of a pasta dish, and we would be there Saturdays at 12 o'clock. And we'd come up the hill, up the driveway, and I would see my grandfather's back sitting at the table if we were 2 minutes late, because if we were a minute or 2 minutes late, he would sit at that table and he'd say to Grandma Jen, "Start feeding me now, because I'm not waiting." He was a tough one. Alright, this is looking really good. Let's get all the meat out of the sauce. Like this, because we know we definitely want all the meat. You know, this type of thing here with the rice, a lot of times after it sits, it loses a lot of the liquid, so I really think this is going to be a perfect amount. Stir this up. Of course, we're going to need a little bit of salt and pepper in here. My mother would add a little hot pepper to this, make it a little bit spicy. That's just about it. I think we could probably add the whole thing to it. At least get the good meat and everything out of there. There's just a couple drops left. I'm going to stir this up without that, and then maybe in a few minutes, once it thickens up again, I'll finish that off. I think the amounts are perfect. Isn't that nice? This is a beautiful Spanish rice. Now, no hate, because I know each Spanish person has their own way of making this, so I'm not saying this is any better than anybody else's, by far. It's just something Grandma Jen used to whip together, and when I have this, I think of her, and that's what family meals and recipes are all about. So there you have it. Alright, so I'm going to fix a bowl of this. See if it needs a little salt and pepper. But there is some beautiful Spanish rice, okay? So remember what Grandma Jen used to always say: enjoy your life and your food every day.